Now, one of the biggest stories of the last few days has been the dispute between the Beeb and Gary Lineker over impartiality. It led to the presenter being taken off air for Match of the Day over the weekend, causing the flagship show, as well as Match of the Day 2, to air as 20 minutes highlights only programme. 5 Live Sport was also pulled on Saturday, meaning that talkSPORT was the only national radio station covering live sport. For more on this, as TalkTV host Piers Morgan, massive Arsenal fan, joins us now. Piers, a very good morning.
Morning, Piers.
Well, it is a good morning, isn't it, Ray? It's a very good morning,
Piers. Absolutely great morning.
Piers, we hear just in the news there, the BBC are going to make a statement, so it looks as if it's kiss and make up time.
Yeah, and long overdue. I mean, I think this is not so much a debate about impartiality as a debate about free speech. The truth of the matter is that Gary Lineker is not a BBC employee. He's a freelancer. And like many freelancers who do stuff for the BBC, he reserves the right to have his opinions on his Twitter feed. Alan Sugar does it. Deborah Meaden does it, Karen Brady does it, David Attenborough does it, they all do it. So why there should be an exception for Gary is completely beyond me. And I just think this idea that he's not allowed to have opinions because he presents a sport programme is even more ridiculous. You know, if he's a news and current affairs journalist, fine. I get that. The BBC must be resolutely impartial on news and current affairs. But really, we're bothered? Is front page news for 4 days because Gary Lineker has a view about a government policy? It's ridiculous.
And what a disruption to, football fans who love Match of the Day, who are regulars.
Well, I said to Gary, look, my first thought is obviously deep sympathy for you in your difficult moment. My second thought was to ring the BBC and say, I'm available to host Match of the Day.
Alan done it before you, it appears.
that had nothing to do with me, by the way.
Yeah, no, I think the reality is that I thought the solidarity by the BBC staff said it all. They see right through this nonsense by the management. The management have been very weak. I suspect we're going to see a statement within an hour or so in which the management will have been seen to cave to the situation because they've got no choice. Because by trying to make an example of Gary Lineker, actually what they did was highlight the ridiculous inconsistency and vagueness of the regulations in the contracts that relate to freelancers. They're not the same as they are for staffers.
No, Piers, and so we know it's very flaky, these guidelines. There's no doubt that others have been very outspoken on all of this. So how do you see this in terms of, Al mentioned about kiss and make up, so what are going to be the new guidelines? What are you anticipating that are going to be the new rules moving forward from this point?
Well, I would be astonished if Gary Lineker apologises. I would be astonished if he backs down. I'd be astonished if he agrees to delete the tweets that he put up there, notwithstanding the fact that I happen to disagree with him. But the whole point of free speech is that it's not that you agree with everyone who you agree with, it's that you tolerate opinions that you don't agree with. And so I think what they'll do is they'll probably fudge it and say we're going to review the guidelines for freelancers. But like I say, I'll be amazed if Gary backs down, because why should he? It looks to me like it's the BBC that's on the back foot, not Gary Lineker.
What about the BBC Director General? Here we go, we get political now. Politicians now, Piers, are saying he's got to resign, he's got to go, Tim Davie. Do you agree? Should he go?
Well, look, I like Tim Davie personally. I think he's a very smart guy, but he's made an absolute dog's dinner of this. And of course, they've got the added problem of their new chairman, Richard Sharp, who's already facing his own investigation for impartiality, ironically, because he donated £400,000 to the Conservative Party and he helped Boris Johnson facilitate an £800,000 loan, and was then made within a few months chairman of the BBC by Boris Johnson. So clearly none of this looks great. And I think if the BBC wants to start cleaning its house in order when it comes to impartiality, it should probably look in the boardroom before it looks at people like Gary Lineker, who are not even staff employees.
Anyway, enough of that nonsense, Piers. Let's talk about proper stuff. And Arsenal.
Yes. I think Piers talks a lot of sense.
Thank you, Alan.
And another great result of the weekend, Piers. You must be delighted. I mean, I'm buzzing. This could be better than when I was winning titles, because there was outsiders to win the league this year. No one expected them to do what they're doing at the moment, but it's a long way to go. I'm not going to get carried away, but you must be really pleased how they're playing at the moment, Arsenal.
Oh, I thought yesterday was the best performance of the season, because I think Fulham have been really good this season. Everyone thought this would be a really tough away game, and we absolutely destroyed them. And the way we did it with such control, the relentless passing, the relentless movement. And I think it was a really interesting piece, actually, Ray. I'm interested in what you think of this, by Sam Dean in The Telegraph that I was reading just now. Really fascinating about Arteta's transfer strategy with Edu, that since he came on board, we've made 21 first-team signings, 9 of which have come from other Premier League teams. 43% have been plucked from the league. Now compare that to the next highest, Man City, 25%, and Manchester United. Of Liverpool, meanwhile, on the same period, only 8% from Premier League teams. And before Arteta came on board, we only signed 2 players out of 22 in the same 7 windows. So what's been really interesting is this change in strategy to go to a strategy which actually Liverpool, ironically, used to deploy really well, which is to, and so did Alex Ferguson, go and sign really good players experienced in Premier League football. And you look at Trossard, look at Jorginho, look how easily they've slipped into the system. But it's because they're used to playing at the speed and pace and power of what is probably the most competitive league in the world. So I think Arteta and Eddie deserve enormous credit for their transfer strategy. We could have ended up with Mudryk, who I think will be a really good player. But you think he was 100 million, and we got Jorginho and Trossard for half that. Trossard yesterday was sensational. So I think it's a great credit to the transfer strategy. I think Arsenal fans are feeling quietly more and more confident. 11 games to go. Obviously, you've got to go away to Liverpool, away to Man City. Very, very tough. Well. All tough, but who's going to want to play us right now based on that performance yesterday?
No,
and I think that Gabriel Jesus back, Partey fit again. We look a proper team.
Just about to say, Piers, that was the real bonus as well, wasn't it? The last 20 minutes for Gabriel Jesus to come on. Could have scored, actually. Could have scored. He had one reasonably presentable chance. But to have him back is massive at this stage as well.
Yeah, I think also it's about a spirit. I remember, Ray, and you'll remember this, when you guys won 3 titles in 7 or 8 years, whatever it was, including the Invincibles. The spirit of the players was unbelievable, but so was the spirit amongst the fans with the players. And I've not seen a better bond with this team and the squad. Actually, it's a really good squad now, and the fans and the manager. I've not seen that since the Wenger glory years, and I think that's, again, great credit to Arteta. You've got to remember, when we lost 3-0 to Tottenham about a year ago, right, and we then lost 5 of the last 10 Premier League games, we missed out on top 4, and Tottenham got that 4th place. There were a lot of Arsenal fans, including me, who thought it was utter madness that Arteta got given a new deal. Now we are the ones who look stupid. The Arsenal owners look good and smart, and Arteta has proven all the doubters wrong, and I think has emerged now as the great, pretender to the Pep throne perhaps, but given what he's had to work with and how fast he's taken his team, you've got to say Arteta right now, one of the standout coaches and managers in the world.
Piers Morgan, uncensored on TalkTV at 8 p.m. Piers, thank you very much.
Cheers, Piers.
Thanks, Piers.
Available on Sky, Virgin Media, Freeview, as well as on DAB, Amazon, Fire, Apple TV, Samsung TV Plus, YouTube, the TalkTV website and app.
TalkSPORT Breakfast with Alan Brazil. Thursday and Friday morning, 6 till 10. On AM, on DAB, via the TalkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. TalkSPORT.